Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Quick middle of the day update. Not too much happened. The market is coming down a bit. Bitcoin is hardly moving. I mean, it's sold off a little bit, but it hasn't broken support. So can only repeat really what I said. I mean, in the previous video, we discussed that obviously the yellow wave count is still the preferred one. We can currently carefully assume that a B wave might have topped here, which was on Monday. And then this was a wave 1 to the downside, a wave 2 to the upside. We could now be in the third wave to the downside. Within this third wave, we should reach 26K next. To confirm that yellow wave count further, however, the price needs to, first of all, break below last week's lows. So we want to get below 27,170 and then also 27K. And to keep the downside pressure alive, really, I want the price to stay sort of below 28K. So that's a key level. So below that level, the downside pressure should remain high. Above that level, we will start to attack resistance here again. And then a break above 28,300 will make the white wave count the primary scenario. Okay, but only when we have a breakout. Remember that in the last video, we talked about that even in white wave 4, we should see the price come down lower. So we had confluence here again between the yellow count, which should come down anyway, or even in the white wave count, basically here an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down before we go higher. So that's still all possible. Therefore, we had good confluence here for potentially a move to the downside, which shouldn't surprise anyone. And however, again, to now distinguish or be able to distinguish between the yellow wave count and the white wave count, it's all about that support. Yeah, basically you could say a support range between 27,180 and $27,000. If we break below it, it would emphasize the yellow wave count and a more aggressive breakdown. Yeah, Ether is on a much better way. Bitcoin showing some more strength. Now, the ETH BTC chart is close to a low. I assume it's too early to really confirm that, but maybe that will change again and then Bitcoin will drop further and ETH is holding much better then. But that's something for the future. At the moment, while we see some downside pressure, it's not enough to confirm the yellow wave count. Okay, so we are still, you could say, in no man's land. We discussed it. It's a range. We start to see reduced volatility overall in this range, okay? We need to see, I mean, maybe this is even turning into a triangle. Cannot rule that out. It's too early to say, but if we now make another lower high, then we start to have here a little bit of a triangle. It's hard to say what kind of wave pattern that would be. I mean, a wave 4 can be a triangle, we know that. Or it could be... Yeah, I mean, this is, again, it doesn't need to be a triangle, right? I mean, it could be a B wave within wave 2, for example, which is also possible. So there are various options. I'll leave the dashed lines onto the chart to indicate here the range, okay? But yeah, pay attention to the trend lines. It's not very well defined, but we have 2 touch points down there. We have 2 touch points up there. And overall, we just need that break out of the range for the price to tell us where it's going. As you can see here, it could move sideways for a bit, actually. Could move sideways for a bit. Yeah, that's the problem here in this range. It's very boring. And Ether seems to be more ready for a drop than Bitcoin. And a lot of the altcoins are currently following our projections for a new low. For example, DOT, I think, made a new low, where Bitcoin is just not really affected. I mean, yeah, it's coming down, but, you know, 1.5%. So, not really anything meaningful yet, so we still wait for further clarity. I mean, in the yellow count, we could even say that we have here potentially a small 1-2-1-2 setup, and then this is a third wave, for example, a third wave within the third wave, but it would just need to follow through. Okay, it just needs to follow through. And there is not much more to add. I don't have anything else to add here. Maybe we'll get a little bit more price action later today. I think some of the altcoin charts are at the moment a little more interesting because they are not necessarily in a range. They are just following their short-term bearish projections, and we're waiting for clear bottoming structures on those. Yeah, that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.